Oregon, a land of adventure and awe, a treasure.
That was a great take.
Majestic and hidden. A state that calls out for exploration and experience. The journey of discovery begins now. From KGW, this is Grant's Getaways.
Hi there, I'm Grant McOmie, your host for KGW's Grant's Getaways, and welcome to the Grant's Getaways Holiday Special, where we celebrate some of our favorite times and travels across Oregon. We look back on Oregon history through a century-old catastrophic fire that now provides backdrop for a new tourist draw along Astoria's waterfront. We join a unique environmental lesson called Eggs to Fry in 25 as thousands of Oregon school children lend a hand to raise rainbow trout. We take you to the Willamette Valley, where a wintertime eagle convocation is something special to enjoy. And we visit a gigantic, stupendous, absolutely monumental work of art that brings the outdoors indoors, and it's found right in your own backyard. We also pay homage to my mentor and a close friend, Bert Hansen, who was a featured getaway expert for nearly 40 years. He was as comfortable in the classroom as he was in the Oregon outdoors. So let's get started along the Columbia River, where summer fishing offers the best of both worlds, long warm days and plenty of gorgeous salmon on a fishing trip that gives back to local youngsters.
You guys ready? Let's go fishing.
It's a dawn patrol in the middle of a national wonder that takes your breath away.
Because catching a salmon in the middle of a mountain range, this is just something. I don't know, I'm just surrounded by all this. Perfect.
Bill Monroe is lucky to make the Columbia River Gorge his office this time of year.
Oh, there's fish!
The spectacle of the place is only surpassed by catching Columbia River's gorgeous salmon.
Okay, don't stop reeling, don't pump, just reel. Lift to the sky! Oh my God, I got it! It's a little guy, but we'll take it. These fish are all staging from basically here all the way up to the dam, and they're just waiting to cross. Counts are still 5 figures a day.
Our party includes longtime anglers Gordon King and Bill Monroe Sr., plus 2 special guests, Everett and Eric Twilliger, a father-son team who love to explore the Oregon outdoors, especially when salmon are on the bite.
It's the adrenaline rush and taking home as fresh as it gets to the table, nothing better.
Monroe began fishing this year's run back in July, and he calls it an epic season for abundant salmon.
The weather, the water conditions, the temps, the amount of life in general that we saw out in the ocean and inside the bay, haven't really seen it like that before.
It's all of that and more for Everett Twilliger, who's been looking forward to this trip ever since he won the trip at auction. You see, Everett supports the not-for-profit Bald-Faced Truth Foundation, operated by local sports writer and radio show host and longtime KGW sports guest, John Canzano. John and his wife, Anna Canzano, raise money to support arts, education, athletics, and especially the annual week-long summertime event called Camp Exceptional.
When his auction came up and I had this opportunity, my love for the outdoors and your connection and seeing you, I thought it would be a great opportunity, and I was fortunate to be the winning bidder, and you know, I'm very thankful and grateful that that money goes to help our kids.
Just reel, you gotta reel.
All right. Ooh. I don't know if he's there. You want me to lift?
Yes, I do. Woo! All right, Everett. What a thing of beauty, you guys. Yeah.
Happy birthday.
See?
A 20-pound fall Chinook is a fine reward for the day's adventure.
Being out here and enjoying what Oregon has to give us just by the scenery, and it's still a blessing. Great memories that I'll cherish the rest of my life.
It is a gorgeous catch for sure, but what to do with 20 pounds of salmon?
We're going to have a little fun with it, and that's part of what cooking is. Step out of bounds a little bit and try some different stuff.
Longtime seafood chef Steve Fick and his friend Scott McMullen team up in the kitchen with new recipes centered on fresh and abundant Oregon seafood, starting with salmon.
We're going to cut these steaks thin and their skin off.
The simpler the better, says Fick, who enjoys cooking seafood as much as the catching. Today's main course, a captain's platter.
A lot of unique flavors. You're going to have Dungeness crab, Pacific prawns, Oregon salmon, true cut, Oregon halibut. You're going to have Willapa Bay oysters, you know, like if it's Christmas and you're decorating a tree, Grant.
Steve calls his homespun recipe simple and delicious, including bacon-wrapped scallops, pre-cooked at 375 for 15 minutes. The captain's platter is assembled, and it is amazing, as oysters on the half shell ring the dish and round out the dinner. Then into the oven for no more than 10 minutes.
You cook it too much, you're going to get a dry product, and you don't want that. All this stuff is pretty healthy for you, low-cal, Oregon-based. Can't ask for anything better.
Steve moves on to fresh albacore tuna, sliced thin before a dip into a huckleberry marinade.
I don't marinate it for a long time. I like it to enhance the flavor and not dominate the flavor, and that's why I'm a little gentler with it.
Okay. He sautés the tuna a minute on each side in a buttery mixture, including a quarter cup of peanut butter.
It gives it a little bit of a different edge on the buttery aspect of it, and it cooks well.
Each recipe is so easy anyone can try, as guest tasters line up to sample and then weigh in on their favorites.
Everything was my favorite. But I do like to say that the way that Steve layered the fish and the prawns on top, that was outstanding. The tuna was so good. My favorite chef.
I love the oysters, and I love the scallops wrapped in bacon. And then, of course, tuna's my very favorite. So the tuna was wonderful as well. It was really a lot of fun watching him prepare this meal.
Yeah, Steve's got a bit of the artist in him, I think. With the halibut and the salmon, the oysters and the pink shrimp, all together, that was just terrific.
The favorite? That's hard. I liked it all. I thought it was amazing.
Obviously, fresh is the best. And the bacon wrapped scallops. That was a nice treat. Layering the salmon and the halibut was spot on.
And these are simple steps. It looks a little complex, but it really isn't. You can have other variations with the seafood. Let your imagination go.
Stay with us. It may be the smallest of shellfish, but Oregon's pink shrimp is hugely popular at an Oregon heritage pub, whose name harkens to Astoria's 1800s, when the Grants Getaways holiday special continues. Astoria's early days come alive when you step aboard Old 300. For just $1, enjoy a 3-mile out and back along the town's waterfront. Sort of trip that puts you in touch with history. A century ago, this building between 3rd and 4th made history when a gigantic fire tore through Oregon's oldest city. It was nicknamed the Big Fire of 1922.
Gets under the dock, and then it starts burning, and then it spreads. It's just like building a campfire. They wiped all the businesses out, the banks, the infrastructure.
The fire jumped from building to building, and in hours, entire blocks turned to ash. The Big Fire consumed 30 blocks of Astoria's business district, displaced 3,000 people, until it reached this building.
The city was built over water, and everything was wood. except for like this building. So it didn't really affect this building.
Lifelong Astorian Steve Fick admired the wharf and warehouse brick building for its endurance and its lasting mark on Oregon history. Built in 1892, it is the state's oldest riverfront warehouse. So he bought the building, and he's giving it new life. Fresh-cut timber and myrtle wood tables, copper sheeting for interior walls. He hired an artist to capture a time before outboards, when fishermen rowed boats to catch giant Columbia River salmon called June hogs.
It's a guy that's working with his hands. Those are huge fish.
It's all homage to the brick building's ties with salmon fishing, back when salmon canneries were king, and the warehouse stored all the tin used to make the cans filled with fish and shipped around the world. These days, the centerpiece of Pacific Distillery harkens to a time when alcohol production was commonplace.
Okay, well, we're putting the mash in the tank so that we can get her heated up and start making some whiskey. This is a corn rye mash, 80 corn, 20 malted rye.
A copper still produces bottles of whiskey, gin, and vodka. A kitchen produces menu staples including shrimp and crab and chowder, and the diners feel right at home.
The chowder was the best I've ever had. It is the best. It was the best I have ever had. I could have had more.
You're in a historic building. It's creating its own unique wares. And when you come in here, you can ask questions and you can learn something about the history of Astoria. And that's the big part.
Built on the ground where the river meets the shore, the lasting qualities of the old brick building offer new life that make Pacific Distillery worth a visit.
That's what we are. We're a nautical timber community. That's where our past is, hopefully where our future goes.
It may be the smallest of shellfish, but Oregon's pink shrimp is hugely popular at an Oregon heritage pub whose name harkens to Astoria's 1800s. It's a short lift from the boat to the dock for thousands of pounds of Oregon pink shrimp, also called bay shrimp or cocktail shrimp. It is Oregon's second most valuable seafood behind Dungeness crab. Last year, the Oregon pink shrimp harvest was 44 million pounds, a seafood worth more than $20 million to coastal communities.
We're something to be proud of. When people care about what they put in themselves and what they eat and they consume, they generally want local, wild, sustainable, good for the planet, good for their body, and we have that story to tell.
Pink shrimp are high protein, low calorie, and just the sort of product that Chef Matt McClure loves to serve in new recipes at the Astoria Brewing Company, one of the town's heritage pubs. It was established in '97, but celebrates the same name link with the first brewery in town, established in 1872.
1800s, people were making beer. There's multiple breweries. Prohibition takes over and shuts all that down. Nobody really did anything for a lot of years. At some point, they decided that somebody needed to start making some beer, and it's helped out town immensely. Beer tourism is amazing.
McClure loves to take advantage of fresh seafood in his kitchen, and pink shrimp are the perfect menu item.
It's definitely something that we sell a lot of on a daily basis, trying to get the people what they want.
Recipe number 1 is a shrimp Louis dressing. 3 cups of mayo, 2 tablespoons of ketchup, a half a cup of sour cream. Build a base to which he will add other ingredients, including the juice from 1 whole lemon.
That's the thing that brings the whole room together. This is one version of a Louis that is kind of a traditional salad that people have done over the years. Then we go shrimp. It's a whole big old pile of it.
He adds 3 pounds of Oregon pink shrimp.
We got a little mixed green, we got some avocado and egg. And it's like you got a built-in dressing right in there, along with all your shrimp.
Recipe number 2 is a sandwich called the shrimp po' boy. Large prawns replace the pink shrimp and are double dredged in rice flour and then into a beer batter of rice flour before a quick trip into a 350-degree fryer.
I think about 3.5, 4 minutes.
The large crunchy shrimp rest atop sourdough rolls and are topped with a not-too-spicy remoulade. a savory and flavorful sauce.
It's sweet, it's spicy, it's the perfect seafood sauce, especially for shrimp.
Diners dig in and then weigh in on their lunch.
This is an incredible sandwich. I like the kick in it, just a little bit, not too hot. The roll was exceptionally good.
Fresh ingredients.
Yeah, I thought it was excellent.
The sandwich, I've never had a shrimp porbite before, and it was absolutely fantastic. I'm assuming that this has become one of their best sellers because it's very good. I would go out of my way to order a sandwich like this.
You should go out of your way to make Astoria Brewing a getaway stop for the food, the beer, and a stunning view to the broad Columbia River.
We've got a great view right here on the water. We've got an outdoor deck. Really easy system set up so that when you're coming in town, you can eat, drink, and have a good time.
Stay with us. We join a unique environmental lesson called Eggs to Fry in 25 as thousands of Oregon school children lend a hand to raise rainbow trout when the Grants Getaways holiday special continues.
Okay, thumbs up if you're ready for the next color.
As the school year winds down, youngsters have a chance to do something artsy and something fishy when Mrs. Hansen is their guide.
Go ahead and pick up your green crayon and begin.
It's a wrap-up art project. Students use colorful oil pastels and create rainbow trout that the youngsters can take home for summer.
It just brings out their creativity, but some kids just might not excel in math or reading or whatever. Art, most of the time, will excel because it can be all different, and there's no mistakes in art.
No mistaking this project, Eggs to Fry in 25 has taught the kids much about fish.
Here's the package of eggs.
It began in February when these volunteers with the Northwest Steelheaders picked up trout eggs from nearby Roaring River Hatchery.
We bring fish into the classroom and the kids learn a bunch of different lessons about fish and their local streams, and the teachers do a fantastic job of making sure that they know about how fish live and how it impacts their own lives.
Oh, it's for the kids. You know, get them interested in nature and fishing and the sport I love.
I think nature is one of the best things that Oregon has going for it.
Leroy Schultz and Steve Amstead delivered 500 trout eggs to the second graders in Mrs. McOmie's class at Banks Elementary School.
All right, can you see the eyes? Yeah, there are 2 of those showing.
It was the launching point for lessons in science, math, writing, and more.
The estimate that was given to us is that each of our containers holds 250 trout eggs. It's a pretty small bundle, isn't it? It could all fit in the palm of your hand. 250 eggs in there. And you're going to get 2 bundles today, 500 eggs. That's quite a number.
More than 60 Washington County schools have Eggs to Fry projects, more than 300 classrooms statewide. The Northwest Steelheaders provide the tank, a pump, and a chiller unit. The eggs have to be kept at 50 degrees. And the students will monitor the transition of eggs to fry over 6 weeks. Until it's moving day to Scoggins Creek at Hag Lake.
And if you want to set your bag in the water so we'll acclimate, we want the water to adjust. They're going to be the future keepers of our rivers and lakes, and we want them to know that they are taking that responsibility. They are the ones that are going to carry on for us in the future.
The youngsters appear eager for that job.
They need water without chlorine in it and stuff, because if they have chlorine, it's not good for them. It has to be really cold, because if it's not cold, then they wouldn't get used to this water anyway, so they might die.
So it's pretty important to take care of their environment, maybe,
Yeah.
so they can survive.
Mm-hmm.
What was the funnest part?
Probably coming out to the field trip and releasing them, because it was really cool to see them all swim away.
Can you see there's 2 of them right there?
I think it gives them appreciation for where the food source comes from, where nature comes from. It's not just put there, we have to actually take care of it so that it'll continue for generations. It also gets some firsthand experience at biology and seeing how the life cycle goes. It's pretty neat.
Oh, you named the fish?
Yeah.
What did you name it?
Bubbles.
Bubbles? Good for you. Did you say goodbye to Bubbles? Yeah. Back in class during the last week of school, students love to share their colorful fish. In fact, so do former students like Lily Rogers, who did this 10 years ago as a second grader. We were there in 2015, and it seems the lesson stuck.
I remember setting them free, and I remember, going down to the river and crouching down and letting them out of the bags. And I remember making the fish, of course, and I still have mine. I just remember being super fun.
It was fun and provided a lasting lesson on the wonder of life in the Oregon outdoors. It's time to join volunteers who share the bounty of fall salmon so families have enough to eat. For many, here's the best way to start a fall day. A gorgeous coho salmon.
That is a nice one.
Lucky anglers certainly enjoyed this time of year. We can enjoy the view, too, at places where salmon leap for their lives. Thousands of migrating salmon return to home waters after years at sea. They come back to spawn in the gravel or at hatcheries like the North Fork Nehalem, where the fish started life here 4 years ago. Today, volunteers are working the trap in a unique project that shares the bounty.
We're sorting the fish for the food bank and then for stream enrichment.
Food bank female.
So these are the hatchery fish that have come back up the river.
North Fork Nehalem is a state-operated site that produces thousands of salmon each year. While a part of the fall migration provides the future generation, the extras are used for something else, something good.
Food bank female. We don't regularly get enough fish here to sell carcasses. Some hatcheries will do that and sell carcasses, but we don't get enough here to do that, so they'll go to local food banks.
Volunteers called the Smiley Brothers and Sisters started the Food Bank Salmon Program in 2009. They look forward to this event each fall.
It's doing something for others, and that is the most wonderful thing you can possibly do. And it's also utilizing a resource that otherwise would be wasted.
Well, it does put a smile on your face. It's such a great group of people, volunteers and donors, with the high school kids designing the labels. It's a really cool community process.
He's right. Local high school kids also lend a hand.
We don't need to see the whole fish. Bingo.
Neoconi High School students design the labels that'll go on thousands of canned salmon.
I like the way those fish are moving there.
Teacher Steve Albrechtson says in Tillamook County, up to 60% of school enrollment is on free or reduced lunches. So, designing a food product that helps their neighbors is an important and creative tie for young people.
With the season that we're in now, the Thanksgiving and the Christmas season, and that aspect of giving, it really kind of sinks in that giving nature because they are giving back into their community, and
in a big way.
In a big way.
You were after a lot of fun. I'm seeing salmon, salt, and sass.
Yes.
Where did you come up with that?
Well, after I got the salmon all posed, I realized it looked really sassy. So it contains just a little bit of sass.
I love that. Where'd you find the salmon?
I was just looking around online, and then I seen an old picture of like somebody painted up a salmon, and I was like, hey, take the salmon, outline it out, take it out of the picture, put it on there.
That's cool. The students spent 3 weeks on the label design project. During that time, the surplus salmon makes the rounds. First to a Garibaldi processor called Fish People, where thousands of salmon are cleaned and filleted at cost.
We use everything here. I'll sell the carcasses to people that are crabbing. The scraps and skin and all that will go to a farmer, and he mixes it into his compost pile. And all the money we get from the eggs will go back to the program. So we try not to waste anything here.
Then it's on to Belle Bowie Seafood in Seaside for cutting, trimming, and weighing each half-pound can, again at cost.
This is an old canning machine. It's from about the 1930s. The technology is largely unchanged. It's really neat to be able to take a local product on a large scale and then return it back into the community. There's just really no other projects like that.
Back at Neoconi High School, that much is certain.
So we're just going to take a little glue on that glue here part. You're going to wrap it around there. Your goal here is to try to make it as tight as possible here, and then you're off with can number 1, and you have 500 to go.
Hundreds of canned fish, not for sale, but given away at each of the 15 county food banks. The salmon provide critical protein for people who don't have enough to eat, and it's a uniquely Oregon expression of neighbors helping neighbors.
It's amazing to be able to take our fish from our river to feed our local communities. It's just totally full circle as far as what it's all about.
Stay with us. Bald eagles never gather in flocks, as we take you into the Willamette Valley, where a wintertime eagle convocation is something special to enjoy, when the Grants Getaways Holiday Special continues. One of the most amazing wildlife moments is seen atop 4-story tall cottonwood trees near Tangent, Oregon. It's called an eagle convocation. The regal-sounding term seems fitting for up to 100 eagles that roost in the Linn County treetops each evening. Even more remarkable, this convocation of eagles didn't exist 5 years ago.
We've seen a wholesale increase, doubling and tripling of bald eagle numbers here in the southern portion of the Willamette Valley in the last 7-8 years.
For the past decade, retired wildlife refuge manager Jeff Fleischer has tallied a rapid rise in Oregon's wintertime Willamette Valley eagle population.
Each one of those dots represents a specific survey trail, close to 170 now.
Jeff drives over 2,400 miles of valley roads to count eagles in trees, on poles, in fields, or in flight. A typical high count used to be 50 in a day. Until last year.
We had 217. So it's...
In one day.
In one day.
Fleischer leads a raptor survey project, and he says the reason for more eagles in the Willamette Valley is their diet.
During the wintertime, a lot of sheep will die for various reasons, and the carcasses that are left in the field are what the eagles key on, without question.
Fleischer says the winter sheep population has grown because the types of grasses that farmers grow has changed. Grass like this can tolerate more winter grazing, and now the farmers can make more money.
That increase in sheep brought the increase of eagles, no question. And it's an easily accessible food source that keeps them from having to expend a lot of energy. It's that simple.
You may see them standing on the ground, you may see them perched in a tree, but when you find a group of them around these sheep carcasses, it's hard to miss.
Joel Geyer says the eagle viewing opportunities are spectacular and could bring even more visitors to rural towns in the Willamette Valley.
The strategy is really just to go along until you see bald eagles, because when there are bald eagles, you're going to notice them.
Geyer suggests that visitors follow the Willamette Birding Trail, which goes right past the eagle convocation in Linn County.
Most of the time, you don't really need fancy optics to see eagles because they're so big, but if you have good optics, you'll be able to see them better and you'll be able to watch other birds around too.
Steve Seibel enjoys taking photos of the birds and has documented their feeding behavior.
Typically, their birds will be displacing each other. One will feed for a while and then another will come by, and the food seems to be so abundant that they don't fight too hard to hold their position. Seems like they're living in the land of plenty here.
Geyer reminds visitors that etiquette demands you pull to the side of the road and not block private roads or driveways.
And even if there aren't no trespassing signs, you should be aware that almost everything, just 10 feet off the road is going to be private land here, and it's just expected that you aren't going to go wandering out on it.
I like overcast days.
Molly Monroe is a wildlife biologist at William Finley Refuge near Corvallis. She says 3 Willamette Valley wildlife refuges are fine public settings to see bald eagles too. Here, the eagles dine on abundant ducks, geese, and other waterfowl.
As long as you're finding those open bodies of water and places where there are ducks and geese around, it's almost a given that you see 1 or 2 throughout the year. The areas that hold the most waterfowl are great places to go and look for eagles, either perched or actively hunting. It's really nice to see their numbers back up and have them on a day-to-day basis. It's a treat for everybody to come out and have a good look at an eagle.
Stay with us. We discover a new sense of wonder in a book about the Oregon outdoors when the Grants Getaways Holiday Special continues.
They're magical, it's true. Just watching them, the way they move.
Ever wonder where the really good ideas come from? Dean Krauser believes they begin where imagination travels, and you must be brave enough to follow.
They're so tiny, their color, their movement, their shape, everything.
Last year, we showed you how Krauser captures hummingbirds in a way no one has tried before. He doesn't paint every feather, but suggests what could be, and that sets him apart from everyone else.
I'm just trying to get something fun to happen here where you try to work kind of fast. Never would have imagined, and cliche or whatever, follow your dream. I think there's a lot of power to it. It's hard to do. It took me a lifetime to get to the point.
Krauser has spent decades traveling across Oregon, corner to corner. He owns a reputation as one of the region's finest wildlife artists. His work reflects adventure and inspiration from the wild moments he's found along the way, from the largest to the smallest of critters.
I really still can't believe it. I don't take it for granted. I'm thankful and grateful every day. I'm grateful of any customer who's ever bought my work, that they care enough to buy it and to part with their hard-earned money and everything.
Back then, we also got a sneak peek at something new, a children's story called Wonder. He penned the prose and all the artwork, and his book was published last summer.
And I took my paintbrush and I big blob on a piece of paper. And that's what it looked like.
This month, we got a test run of Wonder with a classroom of second graders at Banks Elementary.
You guys want to hear it? Do you want to hear it? You do? Okay.
It's a story about a little bear full of wonder for all that is wild outdoors.
With grace and with power, the rapids flow free. If a bear had a boat, could he float to the sea?
Dean credits his family for encouragement and inspiration to find the wonder in life.
Could a bear have a friend that's as small as a mouse? You think he could? Yeah? I kind of do too.
He asks youngsters to do the same.
People talk about dreams coming true, but in order to have a dream at all, you have to think about it. And in order to think about it, you have to wonder about it. It's the greatest gift there is just wondering about the world. Someone was talking about, how long are you going to do this for? And I was like, why would I stop this? It took me my whole life to get here. Yeah, I'm having a great time. No complaints. The end. Thank you. That was fun.
It's time to discover monumental artwork. You may have missed it right in our own backyard. Let's go indoors on an outdoor tip of the week. Creekside time in early fall slows down as the tiny things come into view.
I love the way the water changes the color of the rocks.
A time when an artist sees what most of us miss.
Above the water, they're a whole different thing than below the water, and I love that.
Sherry Erickson fell in love with the Oregon outdoors as a kid. Her skill at capturing the details is surpassed only by her passion for the place.
When I paint, I become hyper aware of light and noises. You can hear the water move the rocks, kind of a weird sort of rhythm, and you can hear the rocks under the water. After a while, you get tuned into that kind of thing.
Erickson calls herself a natural illustrator who lets landscapes breathe life into her work. She has traveled the region for work with wildlife agencies, and her favorite waterfowl, right there, harlequin ducks.
They migrate up and down streams, then everybody will go to sea, and they'll be at sea for a while. It's a really interesting life cycle that they have.
Inside a cozy studio in Forest Grove, Oregon, she boasts a 4-decade-long career as a professional artist, whose passion was born from childhood backpacking and fishing trips with her dad. Recently, Erickson won recognition on a stupendous, absolutely monumental scale. Here, the new Clackamas County Courthouse, a 6-story, 240,000 square foot centerpiece for the county's government campus in Oregon City.
I mean, you can't miss it. It's like in-your-face mural. And the rest of the building's very modern and very quiet. It kind of plays off each other, I think. And so having this organic mural in there, I think it looks great together.
2 murals, each measures 9 feet tall and nearly 40 feet long. Her idea was to show off the county's natural world in a competition she entered and won last spring. Her work was born of a simple idea: the outdoors can heal.
Helps people relax and get away from their everyday cares, so it doesn't trigger anybody with PTSD or anything like that, which is important in a space like this.
More impressive, the murals are a blend of her art and new technology that took her tiny paintings and created gigantic digital murals.
It's my actual painting that I took a photograph of, we blew it way up, and then I repainted everything digitally by hand, just like regular, no paint, just digital though. It looks like paint.
Her massive digital files, numbered in the hundreds of gigabytes each, were sent to Solberg Industries in Utah.
Typically we print colors, we print office graphics, we print logos, but this was the first time that we did in fact print artists' artwork to be installed as an art installation.
The murals were created as scores of acoustic panels made from recycled plastics that provide incredible, colorful, accurate details.
I was ecstatic to be able to see what we were able to do with her work, and specifically to see the quality of her work made me excited. Every panel was exciting to me.
Back at the courthouse, the remarkable monumental murals capture the Clackamas County mountains and watersheds, the wildlife and the plants.
My purpose being an artist is not for me, it's for other people. So when I put my art out there, when I hear people say, oh, that reminds me of a place I've been, or it makes me relaxed or whatever, then I've done what I'm supposed to do.
And aren't we lucky that's so? Stay with us. We pay homage to Bert Hansen, my mentor and close friend, who was a featured getaway expert for nearly 40 years. He was as comfortable in the classroom as he was in the Oregon outdoors. When the Grants Getaways Holiday Special continues. If a community's health can be measured by its wealth of opportunities for youth, Forest Grove, Oregon hit pay dirt 50 years ago.
I think it's an amazing pathway it's definitely, and it's cool that we get hands-on experience before we even graduate high school to just go straight into that if that's what we want to do.
A lot more goes into it than I thought. It's a lot of effort. It's a lot of the little things that matter the most. It's been really fun.
I just thought it was such an amazing opportunity. I don't think you come across such a project every day, especially in my age at a high school, where you get to have the opportunity to build a whole home.
It's the Forest Grove High School Viking House Project, and it's 50 years old this week. Students have built a new home a year since 1975. The 20 students that make up this year's Viking crew are seniors. They completed prereq classes and were selected for the class that began last September. Teacher and General Foreman Chris Higginbotham has managed 27 of the past 50 house projects.
Just surprised that a vocational program could last 50 years. And quite honestly, it's lasted because we're self-funded. I've always told them we build these houses without excuses. We have to provide a professional product or we need to find something else to do.
Back in '75, the man who started it all, shop and drafting teacher Bert Hansen, wanted something else for his students, so he created the curriculum that had never been taught, walking the talk of construction techniques to give students a taste of real-world home building.
I guess I've always admired Dad's vision and the vision he had to start this program 50 years ago. Equally, admire the fact that this program continues to grow. Every year it gets better and better and better. I'm just glad the legacy continues.
This program got me started on a path of construction that's taken me to different countries in the world, different states. The opportunities are coming the next decade that construction is going to boom.
Former students like Rob Doomer, Viking House class of '80, and Ken Warren, class of '86, share their professional successes from the building trades, where jobs are waiting for a new generation.
You got to see a little bit of plumbing, you got to see a little bit of electrical, you got to see a little bit of roofing, you got to see a little bit of drywall, a little bit of cabinets, and gave you a sense of what it takes to put a project together like that.
I wouldn't even know what my life would have been at that point, I probably would have stumbled around trying to figure out what to do in life, and with his help, he pointed me in a direction, and it's been very rewarding and great.
He was a professional, and he enjoyed passing it on to other students. I'm sure there's many, many students that were affected by his leadership.
Leadership that continues to influence the next generation, eager for new life lessons.
Having a teacher that had his whole heart into it as well made it that much different. He wasn't just teaching, he was giving his knowledge and his expertise in his time to pass that on.
50 homes and 50 families, but how many people have lucrative, rewarding careers that were part of the Viking House program? It's immeasurable, yeah.
How proud would he be to see 50 years later, huh?
Oh, he sees it. He's watching.
Oh, I hope so. Hansen's leadership among his students and his friends was legendary, and sadly, he died this spring. So I'm taking some time to remember and honor my friend who made the most of every opportunity to teach all of us about Oregon.
He got him. He got him as we speak. Here it is, and it's a beauty.
Beginning in the 1970s and through the decades, Hansen and I shared countless adventures. He was my mentor and best friend, as comfortable in the classroom as out here along a river. Bert Hansen had a big heart and a soft touch, and he often joined me on outdoor adventures for my television segments and programs.
I paint it black on the bottom so that a lot of times you're fishing a real shallow bobber.
He owned a confidence in front of the camera that was always warm and inviting.
These river conditions look absolutely perfect.
I loved his easygoing conversational tone, and the information that he shared was always spot on.
If you're not contacting the bottom, you're not going to catch a winter steelhead.
Together, Bert and I prowled Oregon's Coast Range rivers, estuaries, and ocean waters.
There's another one.
Where he showed me the ropes and taught me the techniques to become an effective angler for just about everything. From crawfish to clams.
There's a little cockle.
Smelt to salmon.
It don't get much better than that.
And don't forget those Dungeness. It was not just about the catching, but the cooking too.
And gives you real nice flavor to the fish also, and it's quick and easy.
Decades ago, I nicknamed him the King of the Wilson because of his angling success on his home waters.
Oh, this water looks fantastic, Grant. Great color.
Bert was especially on point when he had the chance to do something with a young person. He was the perfect teacher for the kids, like his grandson, Cole.
If you feel something then, hook them and bring it up. That's a beauty you got there.
He provided me with a primer that led to a passion and a life course that makes it easy for me to proudly say I would not be here now doing what I do these past 43 years, sharing stories about Oregon's outdoors without his guidance and his steady, patient teaching.
Proud of you. You were great out there.
I will always give thanks to him for making my job so much easier.
Grant, I think I can feel one looking at it.
Bert Hansen earned a reputation as an accomplished angler and a caring friend, one cast at a time, season after season, year after year, and I am the better person for it.
Just look at the country here, and it gives you one of those memories. Memories are everything. They count for a lot, and you try to build good ones.
So, Bert Hansen, here's to you and a well-lived life. Long live the King. We have all the details, directions, and the contact information for all the segments in this year's holiday special on the KGW website, so be sure to check it out. Finally, I am a big believer in the adage, it is the journey that supports the destination. I have found that to be oh so true in my travels and times across Oregon. I hope you do too. So until next time, do get out here and enjoy the Oregon outdoors. Let Grant's Getaways be your guide. For KGW, I'm Grant McOmie.
Grant's Getaways on KGW is sponsored by Astoria Brewing Company, England Marine and Industrial Supply, and Fish Hawk Fisheries.